Good morning. Welcome to the Piedmont Unitarian Universalist Church. Piedmont UU sits on the traditional land of the Catawba, Kiawe, and Sugaree peoples. My name is Rhiannon Estwick, and I will be the worship assistant for Reverend Dr. Amy Rio this morning. We are a flourishing, vibrant, and radically welcoming congregation which promotes diversity, inclusion, and social justice. We provide a safe haven for creative intellectual growth, spiritual development, and a deep sense of community for all who join us. We hope our liberal religious values will challenge you to join us as a community that lives boldly and acts justly. To all our visitors and members, we're very glad you're here, in person or with us online, and we hope to see you again. Your presence is a gift to us. Our announcements this Sunday, and we have quite a few. Join LRE and the Social Action team after worship today for the first lesson in Transforming Hearts Collective's Responding to the Anti-Trans Movement, titled Trans 101. We will have food, community, and education on a very important topic. Childcare will be available, and we plan to finish by 2. Are you looking for a night of laughter and good vibes? Come enjoy a live comedy show with the award-winning Shameless Improv Society, voted Best Improv Troupe in Charlotte 2 years in a row. This will take place this Thursday, September 4th, 2025. Doors open at 7 p.m., show starts at 7:30 p.m. at the University Gathering. It is a $20 donation at the door. All proceeds go to support the church and its community programs. This is a live performance. You can kick back, relax, and enjoy the show. Audience suggestions are welcome, but participation is optional. Questions? Contact KTG. We will have a blessing of the backpacks at both services 1 week from today. Whether you are a student or an educator, bring your backpack, briefcase, or favorite bag for a blessing. And now I will call up Madia for an announcement about the Chalice Circles.
Hello, everyone. This week is the last week to sign up for the 2025-2026 Chalice Circles groups. So for those of you who this is the first time you're hearing about it, or maybe you've had some questions but you kept forgetting to ask, Chalice Circles are small groups. This year we're capping them at like under 10, so they're going to be smaller than some of the groups were last year. But they're small groups facilitated by members of this community of Piedmont, and each month you receive a packet with readings and discussion questions about our monthly theme. It's a great way to interact with other members of the church. It's a great way to explore our monthly themes. If you are interested in joining, please contact me so I can give you some more information. We currently have 1 in-person group at University, 1 in-person group at Salisbury, and 1 virtual group, which is a mixture of people from all locations. You do not have to attend the group at the church that you attend. So if you attend here at University, but you want to talk to some people in Salisbury, please do. If you are in Salisbury and you want to come to University, we love that. So if you're interested, please contact me. I will be sending out finalized lists Thursday of this week. Thank you.
Will there be topics in your
Yes.
Madia confirms that there will be topics. Thank you, Madia. For other important information about our vibrant community, please see your order of service, or if you are on our email list, please check our monthly newsletter and weekly announcements. Whatever brought you to this place at this hour, we welcome you. May you find something that you need, and may you leave richer in spirit than when you arrived.
As we prepare to light our chalice, hear now these words from Reverend Lisa Garcia Sampson. In these wild, historic, and uncertain times, we gather to remember who we are, who we belong to, and what we are called to do. As we light this chalice, we kindle the spirit of the great turning, the movement of justice alive in this nation today. May we feel it in our bones, and in the stillness of this hour, may we sense it calling our name. Please join me now in singing the words to lighting our chalice, the symbol of our faith. I invite you now to please rise and body your spirit for our call to worship, which is found in your bulletin. Let us now join together. We come together this morning, bringing all parts of ourselves. We gather with our joy, love, anxiety, worries, peace, hopefulness, and even with our anger. Every part of us is holy and sacred. Let this hour of worship help us remember who we are and honor each aspect of who we are. Amen. Our opening hymn is found in our gray hymnal, number 360, Here We Have Gathered. please be seated and invite any of our little ones to come forward for the time for all ages.
Good morning. Today, for you, I have the story of the jet pig. Now, it's a pretty long story, so I'm going to make it a little shorter. I'm not going to read it word for word. But now that we are at the end of our summertime in RE, are going to read about our friend Jet Pig, who we've been having with us in RE this whole summer. So, there once was a pig with a broken jetpack. It just wouldn't fly. A sea urchin came along and asked, "Why are you crying?" "I'm a jet pig, and I can't even fly." "Oh, what's a jet pig?" the sea urchin asked. "Oh, I have 6 super important jobs. Do you want to see?" "Oh, yes." It's fun because they spell my name. J is for justice. When my classmates are doing something wrong, I love tattling on them to get them into trouble. E is for equity. If I see someone that has more dessert than me, I make them share so it's fair. T is for transformation. I'm not really into sports, but I joined the basketball team because all the cool kids were on the team. P is for pluralism. That means I can believe in 2 things. I celebrate Christmas and Hanukkah, so I get twice the presents. I is for interdependence, because all life on this planet is connected. So I don't have to eat fish, which is great because I hate eating fish. And G is for generosity. So when the school had a food drive, I brought all of our cans of okra because the only thing grosser than fish is okra. Jet pig, stop. What? I understand what you're doing, Jet Pig, but why are you doing it? What do you mean? What drives you, Jet Pig? What fuels what you do? Oh, I don't know. Let me see. Oh, I see the problem, Jet Pig. Your fuel tank is empty. So I just need gas? No, not gas, Jet Pig. Your jetpack is fueled by love. What does that mean? Well, think about when your friends tattled on you, or when you tattled on your friends. Did you do it out of love? No, I guess not. I just thought it was fun. Oh, I know. If I acted to protect my classmate from a bully, that would be justice as an act of love. If I brought extra dessert for somebody who might not have had any, that would be equity as an act of love. Transformation is about change, right? Sometimes adults at my church go to protests to try to change things. I could do that with them. That would be transformation as an act of love. And I know the holidays aren't about getting presents. I have to give presents too. The sea urchin said, "Well, presents are nice, but what if you invited people over that celebrate different holidays than you? Then you could learn about them and have a holiday party together. That would be pluralism as an act of love." Does this mean I have to eat fish? No, Jet Pig, you don't have to eat fish, but I know. How can I do interdependence as an act of love? What if I took time on my next beach trip to pick up some trash to help the fish? That's interdependence as an act of love. And I didn't give away okra as an act of love. I just didn't want to eat it. So besides food, they are always looking for people to help at the food bank. So I could give them my help instead of okra, which would be generosity as an act of love. Jet Pig, how are you doing? I feel great. I want to do all of those things. Let's check. Yes, Jet Pig, you are good to go. Just remember to keep love at the center of all you do. Thank you so much, Sea Urchin. I'll see you soon. And the Jet Pig flies away.
Yay.
The Jet Pig was being kind of silly at the beginning, wasn't he? He was being a little selfish. He was only thinking about himself and how he could get things for himself. And then his friend, the Sea Urchin, very gently and very friendly pointed out that you weren't doing it for the right reasons, Jet Pig. You need to do it out of love. And that's what we've been talking about this whole summer with RE. We've been talking about the 6 UU values and how we are putting love at the center with our values. So we're going to get up, we're going to head to the nursery or to the RE room, and we're going to have a really fun morning. How's that sound? Sounds good? All right, let's go. What's up? What's up, Tom? What do you got, Tom?
So we are now entering into our time for ritual and sacred sharing, time where we share joys and sorrows, concerns, and milestones. And so we light candles this week. We first light a candle for Eileen, HK's husband. Many of you know Eileen from our Salisbury gathering. Her husband Ed has been having various health issues in recent weeks, and hospice is working with him. He's still at home, and he's just recovered from COVID as well, but certainly challenging days for him. We light a candle for Eric D's father, Jim, as he is dealing with his brain tumor. For Susan B., with ongoing health concerns. For everyone who has been impacted by the school shooting in Minnesota this past week. And for our country to take action to end this epidemic of gun violence. For all who are being impacted by ICE raids and activity. For everyone who is suffering in Gaza and for the immediate relief of these conditions. For all areas of violence around the world, especially Haiti, the Sudan, the Middle East, and the war in Ukraine. And for our country, that we might continue to work towards creating a society which is filled with love and compassion, civil rights, and justice for every single person. Now, at this time, you are invited to come forward as you feel called to do so. I invite you to come forward along the far wall, and you may write on one of the prayer cards to place on the prayer stand. You may light your own candle of joy or concern, or you may place a stone in our shared water. We now light a few more candles to honor the things in our hearts which remain unspoken, and also to honor what is in the hearts of those who are joining us virtually. Now, at this time, we'll have a period of quiet rest, meditation, or prayer. I will sound the singing bowl, and then we will have a time of silence. And during that time of silence, I invite you just to deepen your breath, to close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And as you breathe deeply, really focus on your heart and what it is you have in your heart today, and to honor that. Now, after a period of silence, we will have our musical meditation.
Today's wisdom reading is The Sacred Gift of Rage by Rich Orloff. Let me learn how to use the sacred gift of rage, how to use it skillfully, not to injure or destroy, but in service of causes needing help, in jungles that need a machete to cut through thick growth, for the fragile who need protection, for the unheard who need another voice. Let me not be afraid of my fire. Let me appreciate its source. This energy placed inside us is not a tool given to us by accident. Use it wisely, I hear. Do not confuse it with hostility or hate. Do not waste it on petty matters, but do not shy from its awesome power. Let passion flow through me and not be blocked by fear or by voices who try to convince me that rage is inherently wrong. Let the world know that I'm willing to use rage as needed. Let me embrace my warrior spirit and treasure this divine weapon.
So today is a special service. For those of you who attended our fundraising auction back last spring, you might remember that one of the items you could bid on was the opportunity to work with me to pick a topic for a sermon one Sunday. Now, I always try to say, now this has to be within reason, right? So can imagine what some of y'all might come up with. Now, Anna won the auction item. And so we had a wonderful conversation where she shared with me her idea about exploring how anger can be a good thing. Now, as we were talking about this, we both immediately resonated with this. We are both women who have grown up here in the South, and so we know it's a cultural norm here that we just shouldn't be angry, and especially as women. I think many of us here can relate to that idea. Anger is often seen as a negative emotion. And for women especially, there's an added layer. A strong woman who is confident and assertive is often mislabeled as angry. I have dealt with that myself in my own career. Not here, y'all have been great, right? But other places where I was firm and had a man say to me, well, you don't need to be angry about that. I'm like, you haven't seen angry, right? I mean, it's what I'm thinking. But I know so many of us have dealt with that in so many different interactions, that being seen as an angry woman or an angry person is a negative statement, and especially for women to say that we're too emotional or too irrational. Now, apart from gendered views on anger, it's really important for us to remember that no emotion is bad. No emotion is bad. Now, any of us who've ever been to therapy in our lives, and we also have some wonderful therapists here with our church family, we've all heard this. No emotion is bad, and that includes anger. I think a major reason that anger can be seen as a negative is because it can lead to destructive behavior. If we don't deal with anger in a healthy way, it can lead to destructive behavior. When anger consumes us or incapacitates us or leads us to harm ourselves or others, these are all destructive things. They don't create something positive or helpful. Anger can be a good thing when we use that emotion wisely. So what do we do with anger when we experience it? Now, as Anna and I were talking about this a couple months ago, I shared that I always think of a great illustration about this from the New Testament, of how anger can be a good thing. Some of you may be familiar with this story. Now we know the main figure in the New Testament is Jesus, and he's a rabbi, a great religious leader, and the stereotype is that he is very meek and mild and always calm and quiet. In fact, that's the same stereotype that people of faith can encounter, isn't it, right? People expect us to be just meek and mild, always understanding, essentially a doormat that anyone can walk over. But throughout the ministry of Jesus, he was someone who was not afraid to speak up about injustice. He often used very clear words about injustice, and one of his most frequent topics was about greedy people who harmed others out of their love for money and power. Yes, because we see examples of this all the time in our society, don't we? Greedy people who don't care who they harm as long as they have the money and power they want. So in this one example of Jesus in particular, it's towards the end of his life. He is going to the temple in Jerusalem, which is the holiest site. He's going for Passover. And this is the most sacred observance for Jewish people. Now, the courtyard to the temple was filled with people who were called money changers, money lenders, basically merchants who were selling things to people that they said were necessary for worship. And these items were being sold at really high prices. And the people coming in for this sacred observance, most of them had traveled far, were people who were living in poverty, who had very limited means, and were simply traveling for worship to this holiest of sight. So Jesus was understandably angry about what was happening there in the courtyard. Greed compelled these people to take advantage of people who were coming for worship. So Jesus called them a brood of vipers, some pretty clear language, and literally threw the tables around and drove the money changers out of the courtyard. This is a great example of righteous anger. Righteous anger. When anger can be a good thing. I'm sure many of us recognize the name Greta Thunberg, a now 22-year-old Swedish climate and political activist who has been a leader, a global leader in working for positive change since she was a young teen girl. Now, Donald Trump, our president of this country, once said about her that she was an angry woman who needed anger management. Of course, he loves to call people angry. We have a lot of projection going on here. And Thunberg, this young teen girl, responded to this very powerful man in the world. She said, "The world needs a lot more angry women, to be honest, especially with everything going on right now. That's the thing we need." It brought to mind that comment, a story from, or another comment from my beloved author, Madeleine L'Engle, who some of you know is one of my most beloved writers. And she knew something about the importance of angry girls back in the 60s and 70s when she was writing. She is best known for her Wrinkle in Time series. And the protagonist is a young girl named Meg. And in the book series, Meg is about the age that Thunberg was when she first came to global prominence. Now, this young, rather insignificant girl, Meg, is the only one who can save the whole world, the cosmos, from a great evil which is taking over. She has some guides along the way, and one of them, Mrs. Watsit, gives advice to Meg when she is feeling overwhelmed and frustrated, uncertain of what she should do, and she's angry about this. And Mrs. Watsit says to her, "Stay angry, little Meg. You will need all your anger now." Now, Anna shared with me that there's one quote she particularly likes, which is from Malcolm X, who many of us know is such a great civil rights leader. Usually when people are sad, they don't do anything. They just cry over their condition. But when they get angry, they bring about a change. Now, it can be helpful to think of anger like a controlled fire that helps combat a fire that is out of control, like a wildfire. And certainly as with climate change, as it is accelerating, we see more and more uncontrolled wildfires around the world, and especially out west here in our own country. A controlled burn is often used. And I actually know someone, it's my son-in-law's oldest friend, who is one of the people who goes out and fights these things. I remember having a conversation with him about this. A controlled burn takes away the fuel that a wildfire can use. So a controlled area is burned so that when the out-of-control fire reaches it, it has nothing left to fuel it. The trees, the bushes, the brush, anything that might give fuel to this out-of-control fire is gone. And it helps to stop it. Now, when we experience anger, when we feel anger, are we able to use it like a controlled burn? Or does it become like a wildfire that is destroying everything in its path? I think we all know that we need our anger in today's world. The amount of injustice and harm that is being done is almost too much to comprehend. And we, as Unitarian Universalists, commit to live out our values to be grounded in love. And that means that we fight for justice for all people. And just like Greta Thunberg and Little Meg, we need our focused anger to give us the fuel we need to continue this long fight. Now, each and every one of us, we will have times where we feel too depressed to continue the fight. We will have times when our anger is a bit like a wildfire. And when those times come, we need to remember that love is always at the center of who we are and of our values. Love is our foundation. And this love will give us what we need to connect with our own inner divine light so that we might live out our values and help change the world for the better. Now, when we need to take a step back and focus on loving and caring for ourselves so that we can continue to fight another day, that is keeping love at the center. When we see a sibling fighter feeling overwhelmed or consumed by the injustice of the world, and we show support and care for them, that is keeping love at the center. when we continue to let our focused anger give us the energy we need to go to one more protest or to make one more phone call, to stand as an ally with those who are being targeted, that is keeping love at the center. St. Augustine wrote, "Hope has two beautiful daughters, and their names are anger and courage." Hope has two beautiful daughters, and their names are anger and courage. Anger at the way things are, and courage to see that they do not remain as they are. Anger can be a good thing. It can lead to hope and courage because we are changing the world for the better in so many ways, both big and small. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
Let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and of hope, for we are now keepers of the dream. This month, we are sharing our offering plate with the Gender Education Network. Established in 2018, the Gender Education Network, GEN, is a nonprofit organization dedicated to trans children and the information and education they need. GEN is a unique organization focused on children under 12, the youngest among us, and their needs as they navigate the community and their own bodies. GEN provides resources for care and education to families who just need a little guidance in loving and accepting their child for who they are. Our hosts will now pass around the baskets, and we ask that you pass the baskets down your row when you receive them. You may place your gift in the baskets as they make their way around the room. And, as always, you're welcome to give online at our shiny new website at puuc.org or by texting PUUC at the number 73256. Today's offering will now gratefully be received.
We give thanks for the generous gifts from your heart, gifts which enable us to continue to share love throughout this world. I invite you now to please rise and body your spirit for our closing hymn. It's found in your Till hymnal, number 1028, Fire of Commitment. we extinguish our chalice, I offer thanks for all the many volunteers who help make our service possible each Sunday, and especially today. I also ask that before you leave today, if you can take your hymnals and place them on the cart near the piano, that is always a big help. So as we do each Sunday, we take a few moments to give thanks, either in our hearts or with words for others to hear for the things for which we are grateful today. Now I want to begin by giving a big thanks to Darlene, our guest pianist today. For that here. Other things for which you are thankful today.
For Linda and Jack's 57th anniversary.
Oh my! Congratulations! Linda and Jack, 57 anniversaries. That's wonderful.
They married at 13, right?
For Anna's sermon choice and for all that y'all brought us today.
Thank you for Anna's sermon choice. So,
For friends who give hugs.
for friends who give hugs.
For Lottie and everything she said within our RE program.
Absolutely, yes. A very big thank you. And we'll have a more opportunity next week to say a little thank you too for Madia and everything she has done these past 14 months for our RE program. It's just been spectacular. So for Anna, yes.
We're glad to see James back after surgery.
Yes, we're very glad to have James with us after his knee replacement. Yes, and I saw him walk in and I thought, he's walking along so smoothly just a few weeks out from a knee replacement. So very glad to have you here with us.
We're just still very fortunate that we were able to go to Norway for our daughter's wedding, and Norway is just spectacular.
Oh, great. So Gail and Joe having that wonderful trip to Norway for their daughter's wedding recently, and so grateful for all of you for that. And of course, Kate, Kate is one of our own, so we definitely are so happy for her too with this new chapter in her life.
Having Mimi back after foot surgery.
Yes, having Mimi back after the foot surgery. Very glad to see you here today.
I'm grateful for all the visitors we have today.
Grateful for our visitors today. Yes.
I'm grateful for headphones for silent practice when we're both playing instruments.
Yes, headphones for silent practice when Rhiannon and James are playing instruments. Yes. Well, we are grateful for all these things and so much more which we hold in our lives today. I want to just offer another reminder that we have a fantastic program that Madia will be leading us with about Trans 101, and invite everyone to stay for that. We do have some food. Social Action is working with the LRE team on providing this, and so certainly hope you will stay and join us for that. So as we leave this sacred space, let us remember that anger can be a good thing, and let us use it as a sanctifying fire to empower us to live as people grounded in love. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen. We now extinguish our chalice, but we carry its light, its warmth, and its meaning with us until we meet again. May we go in peace, believe in peace, create peace wherever we may journey. Now for our closing song, we form a circle. You may hold hands if you would like, or you may simply place your hands over your heart.